Hello, my name is Gehan Cooray. I'm here to talk about my feature film, The Billionaire, which I produced in the United States. I live in Los Angeles. The film won the Best Comedy Feature Award at the Burbank International Film Festival, and it's currently in consideration for the Oscars and the Golden Globe Awards 2021. The Billionaire is my own feature film adaptation of a 1930s play by George Bernard Shaw. The original play was called The Millionaires. However, I've changed the genders around, so now it's called The Billionaire, and I portray the billionaire. It was filmed in Canada, although the actors were cast in Hollywood, where I live. I wrote the screenplay myself. Of course, I adapted it from the Bernard Shaw play, but I adapted it all on my own. There was a director called Michael Phillip, who was also one of the co-producers of the movie who directed it, although as the executive producer, I had final creative control over the final aspects of the movie. We had about 2 different editors. I also did some additional editing here in Sri Lanka with a lovely young Sri Lankan editor. There was one Canadian editor, one from Hollywood, but I was kind of the chief supervising editor. The post-production was done at Warner Brothers Studios, which is also in Burbank, Los Angeles. So I took the film to Warner Brothers. I told them I wanted to do the post-production there, meaning the picture and the sound. I supervised everything with them, and I feel like at the end of the day, they even learned a little bit from me. The protagonist of the movie is the billionaire, the title character whom I play. This is an interesting movie because he's kind of, depending on how you look at it, the protagonist and the antagonist. He's a complex character. But of course, there's no one single antagonist. I think there are maybe 2 characters who are kind of roadblocks to his personal journey. But my character, the billionaire, is a very prudish guy. He's gay, but he's also asexual, meaning he's attracted to men only romantically, not sexually. This is a subject I wanted to address through the character, that people can have romantic relationships without sex, which is being asexual. That's not widely covered in media and films, even in Los Angeles, Hollywood. So really, the character, in the original play by Bernard Shaw, the millionaires was very proud of her money and her status. In my film, The Billionaire, he's proud not only of his wealth and status, but also the fact that he's very pure and chaste. He considers that to be an angelic quality. The casting directors were Shannon McCarnian and Doug Haley in Los Angeles, who cast a lot of independent movie projects and TV shows. So we cast everybody together. I was in all the casting sessions and auditions. My main love interest in the movie, in the film, he's called the Doctor. He doesn't have a name, he's just the Doctor. He was played by an actor called Randy Wayne, a very handsome, blonde, blue-eyed actor. I'm sure most girls and even guys would find him very attractive. Randy Wayne has been in a lot of Hallmark Christmas movies and a lot of blockbuster films in Hollywood. With the antagonists, there are 2. One played by Spencer Squire, who is really my main antagonist, but there's another antagonist played by a Brazilian-American actor called Davi Santos, who is famous for being in the Power Rangers TV franchise in Hollywood. Davi is the lesser antagonist. Davi Santos, Spencer Squire would be the main antagonist. There was also an actor called Jordan Belfi from the hit TV series Entourage, which was a major hit in America. He was on it for several seasons. He plays the lawyer, who's the guy that the billionaire goes to resolve all his issues. And there are 2 more actors worth mentioning. One is Heather Tom. She's an actress who has won 5 Daytime Emmy Awards in the Best Actress category. She played one of the lead female characters. There was an actor called Brian Carlton from Canada. He was the only Canadian actor. All the other actors were from Hollywood. The total budget of the film was $1.2 million. I must say I was very surprised that both the Oscars and the Golden Globe Awards committees have been extremely welcoming to me as a Sri Lankan American filmmaker. I didn't expect such a warm response from both of them. I mean, these are the two largest film industry bodies in the world. They have been extremely kind. It was not intimidating in the least. I dealt with them as an individual, and they have been a dream to work with. For the Oscars, I reached out to them in June last year, and they told me that basically the movie has to be either screened in Los Angeles in a movie theater, or because of COVID this time, they're also making streaming films eligible. But I wanted to have a big screen premiere because movies were made to be seen on the big screen. So fingers crossed, we've scheduled a movie premiere in Los Angeles in February. If movie theaters reopen, we'll be premiering it there, which automatically made the film eligible. In fact, the theater chain that I'm working with in Los Angeles is called the Lumley Theaters, a very famous premier independent movie theater chain, and the Oscars told me, Gehan, we are very familiar with this theater chain. You don't even have to let us know when the movie premieres, they will inform us. That's what made the film eligible. I have also uploaded the film onto the Oscars streaming platform, which the Oscar voting members can access and watch at their leisure. So now the film is under the Best Picture category on the Oscars streaming platform. The Golden Globe Awards was also very interesting, slightly different. I reached out to the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, which is the committee that votes for the Golden Globe Awards. So when I reached out to them in September, soon after I won the Best Comedy Feature Award at the Burbank International Film Festival, they responded in a few days, and they, normally they have a screening in a movie theater just for the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, but because of the pandemic, they said, Gehan, let's do a virtual screening of the film for the members, which we organized at the end of September. And afterwards, they gave me the email addresses and the phone numbers and mailing addresses of all their voting members. There are 93 members of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. So I also mailed each of them the DVDs. The DVDs are not commercially released, of course, but I made DVD screeners of the movie for them to watch. And I also emailed them digital links to the film. I emailed them PDF versions of the script. I also mailed each of the 93 Golden Globe jurors brochures about the film. So I basically sent them each a packet, DVD, brochure, additional information. And that's what it really takes to submit to the Golden Globe Awards. Yes, it is expensive, especially with the Oscars. So if you're uploading the movie onto the Oscars members-only streaming platform, it's $12,500, which normally a distribution company or a studio pays on behalf of the filmmaker. I'm very proud to say that in my case, I saved that money on my own. I didn't have to ask my family or friends or anyone for the money. I saved it diligently, systematically, and I paid the $12,500. And for the Golden Globes, of course, there's no cost to submit, by the way, for the Oscars or the Golden Globes. To submit the film is no cost. But to send them the materials, like the DVDs and the brochures, that is at the discretion of the filmmaker or the producer. So, those costs were not exorbitant. Those were fairly manageable, I would say. Oh my goodness, yes, Patricia Danaher is an absolutely outstanding, brilliant lady. She spoke to me on the phone for about 30 minutes about the film. She said she loved it, she congratulated me, she said it was a wonderful adaptation of the Bernard Shaw play. She praised the editing of the movie, she loved the locations we had, the sets we had, all real locations, of course, in Canada. And she said she loved my performance. She said even though the character was very bitchy and very petty, she found it thoroughly entertaining. She said the only thing was the film did feel a little bit long because it's an adaptation of a play, so there's a lot of dialogue to get through. She said that was her only thing, but she didn't even want to nitpick about that. But it seemed like, 90%, 95% of the film she just loved. Yes, so I'm very proud to say that I had no assistance from an agent or a manager or a distribution company or a studio. I myself reached out to the Oscars and the Golden Globes as Gehan Cooray, Sri Lankan American filmmaker, which is one of the biggest milestones of my life because it's almost unheard of for a filmmaker to reach out to these esteemed film committees and bodies directly. So that is a milestone. Usually you have to make the film eligible first. You have to have either a movie premiere and usually you have to have a 1-week screening minimum in Los Angeles. This year they expanded it to some of the other big cities like Atlanta and Chicago. Also, because of the pandemic, they have made certain streaming films eligible, but only if they were supposed to have a big screen premiere, big screen release, and because of the pandemic, if they can prove that theaters were closed and hence they had to take the streaming route, then they're eligible, but usually you have to premiere it in Los Angeles. That goes for both the Oscars and the Golden Globe Awards. Afterwards, of course, there's a lot of paperwork, a lot of questions you have to fill in, because they have to make sure that everything is in order. So I managed to do all of that, and here we are. At the moment, I'm targeting an independent release, the Lumley Theatres in Los Angeles, which is the premier independent movie theatre chain in Los Angeles. In fact, its founder, Carl Lumley, was the founder of Universal Studios about 100 years ago, and it's his family that now owns and runs these theatres. So I reached out to them. I have a deal with them to release the movie there in Los Angeles. Fingers crossed, movie theatres reopen soon. Afterwards, if, depending on how things go with the Oscars and the Golden Globes, if we need a wider release, we will do it with a distribution company. In Sri Lanka, I'm partnering with Ceylon Theatres, who have agreed to be the distributor here in Sri Lanka, so they will be releasing the movie also in movie theatres in Colombo and elsewhere in Sri Lanka. If movie theatres reopen in Los Angeles by mid-February, the premiere date in Los Angeles will be 12th of February. However, if movie theatres remain closed due to the pandemic, we will have no choice but to possibly premiere it here in Colombo. I can't give you an exact marketing budget right now because, we still haven't got to the premiere dates, etc. yet. However, I would like to, allocate resources in both Colombo and the United States, because I think we owe it to our Sri Lankan audiences to have a grand theatrical premiere, red carpet premiere here in Colombo as well as Los Angeles. So I don't want to skimp out on any marketing costs here in Colombo, although I can't give you an exact number at the moment. Eventually, yes, although I will hasten to add that the movie is an adaptation of a George Bernard Shaw play. The English is very, very high-flown. It's second only to Shakespeare, I would say. So it is rather a niche film. I don't think everyone will understand it. It is for a more niche, discerning audience. So, certainly in English-speaking countries, the UK, the US, Australia, I do sing in French in the movie. I sing a few French operatic arias, so maybe in France too. Once we've had the theatrical premieres and widescreen movie releases in Los Angeles and Colombo, I will be open to distributing it elsewhere in the world as well, absolutely. Netflix and Amazon are possibilities, but only after I have released the movie on the big screen here in Colombo and also in Los Angeles where I live. Once it has been screened at movie theaters on the big screen the way it was meant to be seen, because I did the post-production at Warner Brothers. The picture and sound are awesome in a movie theater. That's how films were meant to be seen. I studied at the University of Southern California, which has the best film school in the world, attended by George Lucas. They drilled it into our heads. Movies should be seen on the big screen first. Then, afterwards, it can go to Amazon or Netflix, but not straight to streaming. You can access my public Facebook page, my official page, Gehan Cooray, which has stills from the film. I will also be uploading the trailer very soon. The trailer is on Vimeo at the moment, but maybe close to the big premiere dates, I'll also upload the trailer on YouTube. I think it's the main character. Originally it was the Millionaires, which portrayed a female character in a very empowered way in the 1930s, which was a big deal. Now in 2021 now, I wanted to portray a very empowered South Asian character, because South Asians are portrayed in a very subservient manner usually. So that was really my main inspiration, to portray a South Asian myself as the billionaire, on par with Caucasian characters. The name of the character is a bit of a tongue twister, Victor Onisanthi Diparerga, who is a billionaire of South Asian descent. His father, his beloved father, has passed away and set very stringent conditions for any man who wishes to marry Victor. So Victor has already been married once, but the marriage has imploded because they turned out to be psychologically incompatible. So remember, Victor, even though he wants to marry a man, he's also asexual. So this is essentially a sexless marriage, a chaste and pure marriage. That makes it challenging for him to find a man who is also pure and chaste. And he does find such a person eventually. After his first marriage fails, he meets this doctor, French-American doctor. And the challenge is they have opposing worldviews, this mighty billionaire and this humble, altruistic doctor. But the movie is really about how a marriage is not based on sex, a marriage is based on the meeting of two minds, and it's also, how two souls connect. The billionaire is a very thoughtful character, even though he's very bitchy and very vindictive and petty. He's also very, very thoughtful, analytical, reflective. So through all these characters, I think the audience can reflect on what marriage really means, regardless of gender, because in America, same-sex marriage is as legal as heterosexual marriages, and I think that should be the case. From script to completion, it took about 3 years, I would say. Writing the script, and also, shooting the movie in Canada, and then bringing it back to Hollywood, where I did the post-production at Warner Brothers. I would say the whole process took about 3 years. So, yes, most of the actors were members of the Screen Actors Guild. I myself am a member of the Screen Actors Guild in Los Angeles. I was heavily involved in all the casting sessions. I personally auditioned the actors. I read the script out loud with them to make sure they were on the same page with me, to make sure the chemistry between us was right. Because even with the antagonistic characters, remember, on screen you have to have a certain chemistry between all the actors. So once we established that that was the case, and once I established that they could handle the script, which was based on a Bernard Shaw play, very high-flown English language, it's not like a modern script, then I felt like we had the correct cast, and then we took everyone from Los Angeles to Canada to shoot. To me, being a filmmaker is really a synthesis of all my major passions in life: drama, music, cinema, because in a movie you can act, you can sing, you can combine all these many different art forms together. So I really think that as a filmmaker, I'm able to share all aspects of myself, all facets of myself as a performing artist and also as a writer, etc., with the world. And movies have the power to change the way people think and feel. With this movie, I hope to raise awareness about asexuality, the idea of chaste relationships that do not require sex. It's just, romance, intellectual connection. Movies have that ability to provoke thought in audiences. That was an absolute honor, because the Burbank International Film Festival is one of the most prestigious festivals. It's a true industry festival, because remember, all the top studios are based in Burbank. Walt Disney Studios, where I auditioned for the role of Aladdin in the live-action Aladdin film a few years ago. Warner Brothers Studios, where I did the post-production for The Billionaire. All these studios are in Burbank, so to win the Best Comedy Feature Award in Burbank is like, hitting the jackpot. I really feel like I experienced the hand of God, to be honest. I didn't expect such a victory. When they announced it, it felt like, God's blessing upon me. Also at the award ceremony at the Burbank International Film Festival, one of the award presenters was Shane Black, who wrote and directed Iron Man 3, and he also created the Lethal Weapon franchise in the 1990s, so this is a big Hollywood star at the Burbank International Film Festival, so it was my biggest victory in Hollywood to date. Yes, so as an operatic singer, I made my Carnegie Hall debut in October 2019. Carnegie Hall is the ultimate venue for a singer to perform in the world. You can't beat Carnegie Hall. The chief guest at this event was the chef de cabinet, chief of cabinet to the United Nations Secretary General. It was a huge honor to have her, and we had about 100 other United Nations diplomats and ambassadors, on top of a lot of music lovers from New York in general. That is my biggest victory as a singer. I've also just finished recording my first album as a singer in the classical crossover genre. We have a few operatic arias as well as more some lighter English songs. That will be released in 2021 as well. I recorded it with a Grammy Award-winning producer in Los Angeles. And again, you know, whether it's The Billionaire or film in general, I think cinema allows us to act, to sing, to synthesize all our passions in one medium, and that is the magic of cinema.